I think it's gotten quite difficult for companies to figure out how they're going to do it, right? Because big contact centers were 4 walls, manager, big wall boards, and it was hyper analytical and always over the shoulder, like, what are you doing? How many calls have you made? It was easy to do it when you had 4 walls in a building, right? And all of a sudden, everyone's gone home. The tools had to adapt to the marketplace. So Teams, thank God for Teams, made it a hell of a lot easier. But then you start having a look at what are the new communication channels that are coming in. WhatsApp. Anyone here not got WhatsApp on their phone? We have to interact with customers how they want to. It's no longer thou shalt call into my contact center and wait for 2.5 hours like the action while speaking. I mean, what do you guys think from a digital interaction standpoint? Because we talk around WhatsApp, but what else is out there right now?
I just think it's a good point. Is that actually customers want an answer now. It's not about ringing up and waiting or sending an email and waiting for someone to come back to you. It's WhatsApp, it's online chat, it's callback within half an hour. It's those kind of omnichannel experiences that we're really beginning to see. I think even things like, I was reading something the other day, Apple were looking at how they integrate FaceTime as a face-to-face interaction with customers to get that personalized experience even though you're not in the room. I think things like that are going to become more and more prevalent in our market as we move forward.
Yeah, and I think, voice and phone is still there, right? People still want the ability to be able to speak to someone, but it tends to be now, it's more of a point of escalation. So I think they do want to interact when they want to interact, on what channel they choose, whatever social media it could be, or instant messaging or whatever. So I think what's great about, certainly with the 8x8 platform, is that you've got the ability to offer that to customers. And I think if you give a customer choice, that's when you win it. Because what's great really about the last sort of 5-10 years is that the consumer now is kind of like, customer really is king. Because the consumer is dictating how and when they want to communicate. And they want to have a good experience, and they want it at a time when it suits them.
But I think that the consultancy piece is so much more important now, because customers don't know what they don't know. Right? The market has moved on so quickly because it's easy to upgrade cloud and it's easy to deliver new features. I think that's one of the things I really value about our partnership. You guys take that training and enablement piece so seriously that when you're sitting in front of a customer, you're not just another Me Too salesperson trying to sell them some telephony, like you said, right? Because they still need it. I mean, Nathan, if we go back to when you were looking at the onboarding side, I know you guys were very particular on what we could do in the contact center. That's obviously from what you're seeing in the marketplace, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's at the crux of it for when organisations are looking at their CX strategy, what's at the crux of it for their customers is choice and efficiency. And it boils down to those two things. And I think that's drawn out of that consumer-led instantaneous response that we see in other sectors and other parts of the market. It's around customers expect good service straight away on a raft of different formats.
I think what's interesting as well is that our customers, their procurement is a lot more informed, so they've gone out and done a hell of a lot of research. And I think they're sort of in a better place in terms of they kind of know what they want, but there's still a whole raft of information which I think a digital space and what we do as a team is to help our customers navigate through that. And I think that's really important because they need, as much as they've done the research, they still need a partner, a company that will help them, guide them through and steer them in the right direction, and hopefully open up some of those conversations around how we can improve customer interaction, how we can collaborate better internally as well as the workforce. And I think, again, with platforms like 8x8, it makes that conversation and that navigation so much easier.
I do think we're living in the world of the managed service provider right now. Because back in the day, companies just sold telephony. But if you look at like our intelligent IVR, it's only intelligent because it's got an API. So plugging into everything else you guys provide, whether it's a secure pay environment or CRM or a database, et cetera, this is where the market is becoming cool.
Yeah.
Because headcount is expensive. Right? Customers want to be able to automate as much of that as they can. So that expensive resource of that human sitting in the background that people can actually have a physical conversation with is utilized correctly. So when we talk around those feature sets and what's coming, I mean, intelligent IVR for me is one of the best things on the planet. I don't want to talk to someone in the background, it's just a simple lookup. But then you start having a look at automation just as simple as I need to get through to sales, or I'm going to recognize your number and send you straight through to your account manager.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's where the market's starting to move. And as soon as you start showing that to customers, we were talking about one who recently onboarded that just keeps growing and keeps adding new features because they'll see something come up and go, guys, I really like it. Can you come tell me more?
Yeah.
Because customers are hungry for information, and that's on us to keep it going. Right?
Yeah, I think the use of AI automation and integration is becoming commonplace, and actually we're seeing it move into the SMB sector. So it used to kind of be reserved for the big enterprises, and they'd sink lots of money into delivering that type of experience for customers. But actually, the small business want to compete, and having access to those services, or providing great integration, or having access to great APIs to tie systems together, is absolutely commonplace right now.
It is, and I think the key thing, I think what we endeavour to do in digital space is don't just replace what you're doing with what you're doing the same.
Yeah.
If you move to cloud, if you move to a new platform like Gateway, don't just replicate what you've already been doing for years and years. The key thing, an example, you look at some of the chatbots. Sometimes organizations, all they're doing is just simply replicating their FAQ page on the website. That's it. Well, actually, there's a lot more opportunity in there. There'll be a lot more sort of integrating, to integrate more with data, be a lot more proactive, really sort of think about what you can do with that software, because I think there's a lot under the bonnet and people don't really realise that. And I think that's what we do in digital space, is hopefully show our customers what the art of possible.
Yeah, I think something we've done as well, which I think you've seen reflected in your own business, is previously it's been very much about how the actual company use the product, and not so much maybe about the end user experience. So with our XCAS, now it's very much about the company that buys it, how are they interacting with their customers, but also the internal customer.
Yeah.
How are they using it? To be pointing around statistics and diversifying sort of workspace and a distributed workspace. Now, one of the key things that supervisors were concerned about was everyone is in one room. How can I monitor? How can I manage that? And that's not an issue anymore now, because it's just about where you work from. You get the same experience, so the whole experience also changes as well. I'm sure you see it with your customer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think adoption in general is everything. And as we introduce these new ways of servicing customers, there's often a change in business process as well. So, there's making sure that the adoption is right for the users of the system and the contact center agents, particularly if they're remote, but also maybe the change in business process. And that's something that 8x8 and Digital Space can help with the consultancy teams to make sure that it's successful.